Hi.
How you doing?
Hi.
That was wrong. Welcome back to the Wine About Birth podcast. We are three birth professionals.
And best friends.
And we're here to talk about what it's really like to live in the world of birth.
It's all glitter and rainbows.
Or as we like to say, it's a lot more shit than giggles. I'm Kim Haynes, midwife at a busy birth center, and also a busy small home birth practice.
I'm Meredith Rao, also midwife with the awkwardly described busy and small home birth practice.
And I'm Jess McKee. I'm a doula for clients in and out of the hospital and a birth assistant with you guys at our out-of-hospital practice.
Whoop, whoop. I really thought that you had said my line because I wasn't paying attention, and that's why I jumped, but...
Oh.
We are having a hard time communicating today. As you can see watching our YouTube video, we are at Premier Birth Center today. My home away from home. Look at my shiny forehead.
I've been here like 3 times in the past week. I don't know what's happening.
So I had a birth today, and I said, you guys should just come and we'll record.
Well, I had a birth first.
How dare you?
Oh, yeah.
So I was at a birth all night, and then I was trying to get out of there this morning to get to our recording on time, and then Kim was like, oh, I think I'm actually getting called to a birth, and I was like, damn it, this is our second episode of the new year, and we're supposed to be videoing, and we're supposed to be on the ball.
So Kim's going to quit because she thinks we're not doing our jobs, but we really just keep not being available.
And I was like, fine, just come to the center, and then I'll come record when I can. And then when we came in here, I was like, okay, I have 5 minutes. And Meredith was like, what? Well, we would have just done this ourselves. And I was like, I know. That's why I told you to do it yourself.
No,
and then Jess was awkwardly trying to avoid any conflict, and she was like...
Her eyes were just like floating around the room.
Okay, yes, those things were
just like our lack of efficiency in general blows my mind. Like, how can we accomplish little?
It blows something.
In such a large amount of time.
Well, we did accomplish a lot today.
We deleted all of Kim's videos.
We had 2 babies. We accidentally deleted some of Kim's videos.
We spent an hour and a half trying to get them back, and we didn't succeed.
For anyone who's out here watching the YouTube video, I don't know if you can tell, but we are all a hot mess right now. I'm in my pajamas.
Speak for yourself. Look at my kick-ass sweater.
I'm in my pajamas. I'm in a snow hat, and but look, I got new earrings for Meredith.
Can we talk about the sweet gifts you guys got today?
It's a charcuterie board
Meredith
earring
got me
set.
charcuterie board earrings to go with my sushi earrings.
There's a slice of salami that looks like a vagina. It's really charming. That's why I picked them.
You know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start wearing one of the sushi ones in one ear and the charcuterie board ones in the other ear.
It's just like your life where you can't choose, so you have all of it.
It's a
and then you can clip that
baguette
bun
on your nose.
Baguette thing right here.
Yes.
Yeah, like the bull one.
And Meredith is wearing my Christmas gift, which is ugly sweater with vaginas on it.
Your client said it's a beautiful sweater, and he seemed a little offended that we as midwives thought all of these vulvas were unattractive.
No, the vulvas themselves are attractive, but the sweater is hideous.
My favorite vulva is the one that has peppermint sticks sticking out of the introitus for some odd reason.
That bothers me. Is it the introitus or the butthole?
I think it's the introitus. Definitely
no, those are the labia. That's definitely the introitus.
Gotcha. All right.
I like the reindeer.
Or 10.4, you said? Try 10.7. That's how much this baby just weighed.
Aw, chunky monk.
Very chunky.
We had been planning on doing our transitions episode that we've been talking about forever and ever and ever. But since
again thwarted.
Yes, since today is such a hot mess of a day, we decided to do a little episode called A Day in the Life of a Midwife. Again, but this is a different one because I want to go through like the past couple days and the things, the text messages I got and the things that went through my head as I got those, and then I'll tell the actual birth story of the week, and then we can do that from Kim's perspective as well.
I should probably ask first, but I have like 10 births that I could
also do that.
You should still do have a whole birth story episode coming up.
Yes.
All of those births.
All of those will be on there. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys take it from here, and I'm going to go do a birth certificate.
Okay.
Have fun.
Okay.
Have fun with that.
Hold my mic.
Okay, you can do that.
You want me to do this? Would that help with my sound?
Probably not. It'll probably definitely F it all up. So, I've been on call.
I should re-angle this a little bit.
For this beautiful Primate mom. For anyone out here who doesn't know, Primate mom is a first-time mama.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel
Which are births that you just, like, never really know. And this was a doula client. This wasn't, like, a Linden Tree client.
Yes.
This was a doula client.
It was a doula client.
And those are the ones as doulas that are like, am I going to be doing a 2-day labor? I don't know. Let's find out.
Exactly. And so she started actually texting me 2 days ago. And she texted me, like, in the afternoon at some point. And she was like, well, I'm having some tightenings and some, like, cramping. And I've had a little bit of, like, pinkish discharge.
Tidings is, like, the sweetest word.
I know. And she
said...
If
someone texts me that, I'd be like, okay, whatever.
She said, exactly.
Let me know when they're contractions.
Especially a first-time mom.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking in my head, like, number one, the thing that goes through my head is, this is a first-time mom, and she's only 2 days past her due date. Mm-hmm. So is there any way that I'm going to get lucky enough that she's actually not going to go to 42 weeks? That number one is like, so I'm like, you know what, this is probably just like some prodromal labor or an irritable uterus. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, lay down on your side, drink lots of water, rest just in case it starts tonight. So I was thinking about that. But then it's again that thing where it's like, now you're on more call because it's like, okay, this person has stuff going on. So is it going to be today or is it going to be a week from now?
Yeah. And then you're just like going to wake up at 2 a.m. every night for the next week.
Nobody knows.
While you wait, wondering.
Yeah. And so she did that throughout the day. And then that night she texted me again and she was kind of like, all right, so they're happening like every 8 to 10. They're not very long. They're not very strong. And I was like, this is the time when you need to get as much sleep as possible. Mm-hmm. And so...
And use whatever substance is available to you to assist in that process.
Yes. And, you know, sometimes when I'm talking to first-time moms, because it's also then what goes through my mind, because it's like, man, I really want her to lay down and sleep because, number one, I want her to sleep because if she doesn't, we have more of a chance of transferring. But I really also want to sleep. Mm-hmm. And so then sometimes I feel, but I'm like, do you think that they think that I'm telling them to sleep just so that I can sleep? Or...
I used to feel guilty about that, and now I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I don't feel guilty about it. But it definitely goes through my mind.
Yeah.
And so that night she, like, slept off and on throughout the night, and they texted me the next morning. So the contractions still happened all through the day the next day. But, like, not so any closer.
So she didn't really sleep that much then.
Not super well. Not any closer together. So the next morning I was like, okay, this is the time.
Yeah.
Like, throughout the day, rest, relax, do everything you can.
But then you're like, oh my gosh, they have already missed one night of sleep. That means they're probably not going to sleep today.
Yep.
Because if they're going to knock out, they would have knocked out by now. So then you're like, I feel like you're like on this clock where you're like, do you like try to move things along so they don't miss another full night? Or do you just like really pray to everything holy that they will somehow miraculously fall asleep at some point during the day?
Yeah. And so she did get some sleep the first night, it sounds like. It sounds like he got less sleep than she did because he was like, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Yeah, you're like, go sleep on the couch. I can't handle you right now.
But she got some sleep. And so then the next night, again, the same thing happened. And around 7:30, they're like, well, they're feeling a little stronger. And so, again, it's like, this could totally be prodromal labor.
Yeah.
She could totally go to sleep. And he could totally sleep. And this baby might not be born for 2 more weeks. And I really want to go to sleep, but I'm also not very tired. So I'm sitting on the couch watching a movie. Do I finish my movie or do I just go lay in bed and stare at the ceiling?
And then you start justifying, you're like, well, I'm kind of relaxing.
Yes.
So I can just finish this movie. And then it's like 8 hours later when you binge something and you're like, dang it, I just slept.
Which I did not do that. I was very good. I watched, because I've been doing this thing where it's been so cold out that I've just been like binge watching.
Which I've known you forever, and I don't think I've ever known you to watch television this much.
No. This is definitely...
This is like, and I'm saying that as like a rock this chapter of your life because it's magical, and I'm really glad that you're
I do usually go through a little binge watching season at the very beginning of the winter, but it's been by far the biggest binge watching season I've been through.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like running out of things on Netflix to watch.
I feel like that's like a reality show. Like you can binge TV for the longest time.
So I watched The Holiday last night, and so I was trying to finish it.
Oh, is that the one with
Jude Law?
Jude Law, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And so I'm like, she's like texting me a little bit, and I'm like, you know what, they're probably going to stop. First time mom. This could go all night. I want to finish my movie. I'm not very tired, but I know I should sleep. So I finished the movie, and then it was like 10:30, and I laid down and go to bed. And so then it's like you get a text at like 11:30, and then you get a text at 12:30, and so then at like 11:30, they were like, well, they're 5 to 8 minutes apart and they're feeling a little stronger. And I was like...
And anytime my clients, like, especially primibs, use the word, like, they're a little stronger, like, you kind of expect that labor is going to hit a primib like a train, yes. right? Like, you want, like, I don't know, you don't expect them to be like, they're a little stronger, or, like, I'm managing fine. Like, you want to hear, like, I can't do this anymore. These are terrible. And so when you hear a primib being like, they're a little stronger, your heart just, like, sinks because you're like, oh my God.
She did say, she's like, I'm feeling a little apprehensive. And I was like, well, that's totally normal.
She sounds adorable. She sounds like the sweetest person on the face of the planet.
They're both the sweetest couple, and they listen to the podcast, too. So, you'll know who you are.
Like, I don't want my clients to be in a full-on panic.
No. And so I was like,
but also, whatever, they're like, nah. I'm like, oh,
that's totally normal. But again, like, 5 to 8 minutes apart, primip, it could still be 48 hours until you have your baby. Yeah. So I'm, like, really stressing. She's like, well, maybe I'll take a shower to see if that calms him down. And I was like, no. Take a bath if that's what you're trying to do. Showers will get it going faster. And I was like, I told her about Benadryl. I was like, this is really when you need to get your sleep because you could launch into active labor. And so she took, like, magnesium and some other kind of, like, homeopathy to try and calm things down. And so she's like, all right, I'm going to try and lay down and sleep. It's really hard. And so then I get a text another hour later, and she says, I think my water broke. And I was like, okay. But contractions were still 5 to 8 minutes apart. Yeah. I'm like, all right, I'll tell your midwives. You still really, really, really need to try and sleep. And I'm, like, in my head, I'm like, I would really, really, really like to try and get some sleep.
What time was this at this point?
Like 11.
Oh, girl, I would have been in bed like 3 hours ago.
I couldn't. I couldn't fall asleep. Even when I laid in bed, I had trouble falling asleep. Yeah. 2 nights in a row.
Well, also, I feel like you're, like, in this phase, too, where, like, you want to protect your time because you don't know, like, how long you're going to be on, like, hardcore for. Yeah. So I do the same thing, too, where I'm, like, I could sleep or I could just, like, take some time to myself and do these things that I love because I don't know when I'm gonna be able to, like, cut off again. Yeah. And so it's, like, really hard to know what you want in that moment.
And you don't want to go too soon to their house, and you want them to get their sleep, but you don't want them to feel like you aren't gonna come if they want you to come. So it's like this dance of, like, I'll come if you want me to come, but you let me know. But I think you should try and sleep. But do they think that I just want to sleep? I do want to sleep.
And then you get this confusing text where, like, you could come. And you're like, oh, I have no idea what that means.
They did not do that. So then, like, 30 minutes later, I lay down. I'm finally falling asleep. 30 minutes later, I get a text that was like, we've just had 5 contractions in the last 9 minutes, and they're all over a minute long. And I was like...
And then you're like, you can just hear, like, in your head.
Oh, and it switched from her texting to him texting.
Oh, that's, like, a big marker.
Big marker.
I don't ever tell my clients about that necessarily because I want it to happen organically without them knowing that's one of my markers, but... Yeah, when the partner or a family member starts texting, that's when I'm like, okay, I should probably call and, like, listen and hear what's going on. More.
And so then I said, well, has she had any bloody show? No, she hasn't had any bloody show. I was like, well, how is she dealing with the contractions? Is she just breathing through them? Is she making noises? And he's like, it sounds like a cow took over our house. And I'm like, well, that sounds like a good thing. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay. In my head, because I was like 45 minutes away, I was like, okay, yeah.
And you're like trying to rally, like, I don't know, it takes me like a solid 5 minutes.
Part of me still wanted to be like, try and sleep, but I'm like, just have contractions 2 minutes apart, it's time.
Like, you can doze off, but you're gonna just wake up every once in a while feeling really shitty. Like, oh, I shouldn't be sleeping right now.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I think it's time for me to come. And so I drive there. I go inside the house, and she's in the bathroom, and she is just doing beautifully, mooing away, which is perfect, doing everything right she's supposed to. But she was one of those moms that's a little bit hard to read because her labor is acting like it's active, and she's doing everything that you would see an active mom do. Yeah. But there's still some pieces missing. Like, she hasn't had any
Or, like, her progress was super, like, different.
Yeah, and it went
from 5 to 8 all of a sudden, like, on top of each other.
Super long early labor to super, super close together, and it's like, now you're acting transition-y, but I haven't seen any bloody show. Are you actually transition-y, or do you have a lot of adrenaline and you're going to be one of those moms that's like 2 centimeters?
Which is so interesting to me that you mentioned bloody show, because I actually don't feel like I need to see bloody show to feel reassured.
I don't need to see it. Yeah. But if I don't see it,
it's a little bit of a
It's flag. A little bit of like a, Where is it? And it's not even like when I think that they're getting ready to push. Because I very often see when a mom is getting ready to push, not even just like mucusy bloody show, you'll see like the little red drips after they have like a really hard contraction. And to me, that's like a really good sign, like this is happening.
That's true. It's just hard because some moms will literally have bloody show from the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's like so hard to know like where on the spectrum you see that as a sign of progress, because like it could be present throughout the entire process.
Yes.
But
and I use it less as a sign if it's present the entire process than if there's just been none at all. Yeah. And so I'm like holding out because I'm like, all right, I don't want to call the midwives in too soon. I haven't been here that long, but I don't want to call them in too late. So I eventually call and I'm like, this is happening. I'm not really sure, but it sounds like her pattern is really good. She's a first-time mom. She's only been in active labor this long. And so they end up coming, and, like, as they're on the way, I start seeing the drips with the really big contractions, and I'm like, okay.
It's like that song, chip, chip, chip,
yes. From Encanto. I love it. And so, shortly after they get there, she starts bearing down. It was just so amazing. She's a first-time mom. She never had to be checked.
She sounds like she had, like, had her shit together the entire time.
She just totally rocked her birth, and the dad was also so awesome because he was just like, I'm going to stay calm. I got this. I want to do this. I want to catch my baby. And so she, like, needed no coach pushing. Like, she pushed with her body's urges the entire time as a first-time mom, maybe for, like, an hour. Mm-hmm. And she was kind of in an upright position, so we can never see what's happening. So at one point, the dad reaches over and he's like, oh, yeah, about this much of the baby's head is up.
That. And then you're like, of course, in your head, you're like, was it urethral sponge?
I know, right?
Every time, because it gets us too still, so especially if it's a dad, you're like, maybe.
And so, like, at one point I was like, well, why don't you try, since your legs are hurting, like, sitting back more for the rest of the crown? And so she did that, and then, like, it was so awesome. He was in the bathtub, and, like, the midwives are still kind of in the room outside of the bathroom, and he coached the entire head to come out, and then the head was just out, and then he was just, like, cradling the baby's head, and had that really, really nice pause where it's just, like, 2 minutes after the baby's head comes out, and it's just, like, the room is so hushed and quiet, and he's just holding the baby's head, like, it's going to be your last push, the next one, the baby's going to rotate.
That's so great.
And so she had a contraction, and the baby did everything it was supposed to, and rotated and flew out in the water, and she picked the baby up to her chest, and it was just, like, such a perfect first-time birth.
Yeah. Do you know what he did to prep for that? Because I feel like...
He didn't do anything.
Especially as a primate, like, as a first-time dad, like, that moment where the head is out and the shoulders aren't coming yet, and, like, there's no contractions, is, like, such an intense
it can be a very
period
heavy
for
time.
people. Yeah. So it's, like, really fascinating to me that he felt so at peace in it, especially as, like, someone who doesn't attend births regularly.
Well, he was even saying during the thing, because they didn't take a childbirth class, and she did a lot of reading, but he's like, I never even watched any of those videos you sent me. He's just an intuitive doodler. Yeah, he's like, I got this, I'll be fine. And so I guess it's one of those things, if you don't know anything about it, if anyone in the room is like, everyone's
that's
just like...
vibing off other people's energies.
Yeah, like, oh, this is fine, no problem, it's gonna be great.
Maybe you'll a midwife in another life.
Maybe.
That'd be pretty interesting.
That would be. But he did such a great job and was just, like, so chill. And she caught her baby and brought it up to her chest and delivered the placenta in the water and everything.
Oh, I love that. How long after? I'm curious. Because I feel like we're having so many conversations about water placentas.
It was probably within 20 minutes. Okay. I don't remember the exact timing of it. But yeah, it was just like one of those perfectly textbook first time births.
Yeah.
And also one of those moms where you're like, if she has her second baby, it's going to be like wicked fast.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, just call me when you have your first contraction.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
I love that. And those like births that start the day like that are so great. It's like such a good way to start the day.
Yeah. And so, but then also in my mind, because it goes back to, like, the birth work, when they called me, I was already thinking, okay, this is a first-time mom. Tomorrow's Tuesday. We're probably going to have to cancel our recording. Yeah. We're really trying not to do that. I wonder if she'll have her baby before this time so that I can still do the recording. And then after she had the baby, I was like, okay, I would really like to get a 2-hour nap. And so...
Did you get a full 2 hours?
I did.
Okay.
I got a full... I went home.
I know Kim started texting all these things that we should be doing. I was like, shut up, Jess, it's
sleeping.
I know, I got the text
just because
and I was
you
like...
don't sleep after birth doesn't mean that other people do.
You are I think of the three of us, you are the one who's the best at going and sleeping after birth.
And I have no problem with it. I walk into my house, I take off whatever pants I'm wearing, fall on my bed, and I'm out in 3 seconds.
Just the pants. The shirt usually ends up being fine.
Oh, I'll wear the same shirt for 5 days straight. I don't care if
I'm pretty sure I saw you in the same outfit for 4 days in a row recently.
I'm still wearing the same shirt I wore to that birth.
I honestly am jealous because I feel like I try to rally and finish the day, but by the end of the day, I'm a monster.
Yeah, I can't.
I am a complete monster, but
I want my 2 hours of sleep if I miss the whole night.
Yeah.
And so then it was so funny because then Kim is like, well, actually, I might be going to a birth too. And I was like, all right. Well, I could totally come to the birth center.
And you're like, I just need 30 more minutes. And then you would hear from me for like an hour. And I was like, you know what, that's totally fine. Because like, I could totally record a day. Or I could record another day. This is all working out really nice. And then we ended up here anyways.
Yeah. And I popped out of bed thinking, you know how sometimes when you're asleep and you like, it feels like it was longer than it is. So I popped out of bed and I looked at my clock and I was like, oh my god, that half hour ended up being longer than I thought. And
Did you have the dream where you were late to school and you missed the bus?
No,
I hate those.
But then I looked at it and I was like, oh, I'm not as late as I thought I was.
Yeah. See, if it was me, it would be like 5 p.m.
But then I laid in bed again for a little bit longer. I was like, because, I was also like, you know what, Meredith's probably going to take a little bit longer to get there.
I did do that.
So Kim texted us on the way, and she was like, the mom's coming in now. And so I was like, she's going to be doing something, so I'm just going to lay here a little bit longer. And so then I was like, all right, I'm ready to go now. And then,
or I could go get pho.
Well, you had already said you were taking the dogs for a walk. So I was
That's
like,
true.
I did a birth today. I deserve pho in my belly.
I think we deserve pho in our bellies every day.
Every single day. We
Every
deserve pho
day.
in our belly. So yes, it was a glorious birth. And we had glorious pho, and we got to spend the day together, even if it was, trying to do technical things that are not our MO.
No, we should, if we get famous, which I'm famous, we're definitely going to get a technical support person.
Yes, this is the year that we make something happen. As you can see by the fact that we're still...
I would like to say we are recording today, which I feel like last year we would not have done.
Yes, and we're doing the videos even though there's technical difficulties.
Even though this is what's happening today. This is still happening.
Yeah.
Even though we just lost a bajillion files on
we
Kim's computer and spent an hour and a half trying to get them back.
Yes, we did.
We're still taking the chance. We're still doing it.
We're doing it.
At the chance that we might lose it again.
Doing it and doing it and
doing it well.
So before we go to break, we wanted to do another little reminder of that we're going to be doing a twin episode. Mm-hmm. Do you have if there's any twin moms out there?
We're going to be interviewing Dr. Emily, so we do have someone who's going to come on the episode and share, but obviously we want to hear more stories as well, so please write in and let us know your stories.
Anything you want to tell us about being a twin mom, about the birth, about the pregnancy, about how people treated you, things that helped, things you were worried about, any and all of it, we would like to hear about it.
My dad was a twin. I should ask him.
That's a good idea. We also are doing a teen pregnancy episode.
Sorry, he is a twin. He still is a twin.
Still is a twin. If there's anybody who has anything to say about teen pregnancy or experiencing teen pregnancy or supporting teen pregnancy, we want to hear from you.
Please don't make us just listen to Kim for the entire episode. We would love to hear from other people also.
We would love that. And we did say we are also going to be planning our 100th episode, and I think that we're trying to plan a gathering.
Yeah, we are.
Tend to go interestingly.
Yeah, they do. We probably just need to have a limit on how many beers Kim can have at the live episode.
That's a good idea. I don't know if we're gonna do a live episode. Live episodes.
Oh, that's true. Well, I thought we had talked about doing an event and then maybe having our mic set up for mini interviews.
So we
or
had
something.
talked about having people come meet us out at the event and having the mic set up and doing a review of our first 100 episodes, and if people came then they could share in the microphones what was your favorite part of our podcast in the first 100 episodes, how did you find out about us, what is your favorite, anything you want to share about our podcast,
because let's be honest, us trying to share and do an episode at a live event never goes well.
Yeah. I mean, the first one I think was definitely one for the history books.
It's like the first hootenanny. It's definitely one for the history book. Should it ever be repeated? Probably not.
I don't know.
It definitely shouldn't. I wasn't even there, and I'm telling you, it should not be.
Oh, the hootenanny should never be repeated.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's time for us to go to break. And when we come back, hopefully we'll be able to grab Kim, and she can tell us a little bit more about the birth that she did.
Yeah, she's completely
this
dipped out.
afternoon. Let's go to break.
I can acknowledge that I'm not. Oh, but let me pause this.
Welcome back from that delightful break.
I peed. That's about all that we accomplished.
Yeah, it is, but that's, it's important.
Being's important.
So, we had anticipated on Kim coming and telling us a little bit about her birth story that she had, but
she's being a dad.
She's really committing so hard to not even really trying to pop in here at all. No. She's putting her foot down hard.
It's spiraled quickly.
Yeah. But from what she told us, and I guess maybe she'll tell us in another episode, or if she does pop down here at some point in time, she had a very beautiful birth to a very big baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the text said Madge period ick period ul period.
There she is, Madge.
Like she's giving us that look. She's looking at like.
If I could like tell her story.
I love.
I feel like it's
Okay, well, never mind then. So it's never gonna happen. So it's fine. We're just gonna improvise the second half, and it's gonna be really lame, like I said it was gonna be during the break. That's fine.
I finished telling her story at all.
Yeah.
You can say that you got called to a birth.
I did.
You had to rush to the center.
I did.
Can we ask yes or no question?
Yes.
Was it magical?
Yes, it was, Meredith. Yes.
Were you by yourself?
For 500, I was. Alex, by
so
myself.
the birth actually happened super quickly as well.
Yes. I had a mom that had weeks of prodromal labor.
Yeah.
As does happen.
Fun
As
stuff.
we were just discussing.
And I knew the baby would be giant, and I knew once you just gave it a little nudge, maybe it would work. So.
Were you charting with one hand and catching baby with the other?
So I did use my right hand to notate head and birth.
I usually use my left when that happens, so it ends up being like raw.
And
I can't.
I kind of was like spreading my arms wide so I could be like feel like supporting, but then also. But then the dad was able to do the main exciting part, and it was
catching.
It was amazing.
So both dads got to do that today.
That was really sweet.
Aw, I love that.
I've actually had a big handful of dads that are super uninterested. Some are interested, but they're like, no, I don't.
It goes. I find that it's usually like hard no or all in.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Not a soft no. It's a hard
it's a
no.
soft no.
Yeah.
But yeah, this birth was just. It was, and actually the nurse who did not make it, Kimberly, is kind of new to the center. She actually is very new to the center. But we have had like two really magical, well, the last one together was like, the baby just came like slowly and she just breathed the baby out and it was so amazing. And it was, so this is the second one we've done together that she missed.
She seems
so
to be
never
taking
mind.
ass postpartum too.
Yeah, she's just ready to go.
Well, the mom and Kimberly seems to be just like busting shit out real good.
So it's one of those days where we had 2 magical births, which is great, and they both went pretty fast. So when it talks about the life of a midwife, that as births go, today was a good day.
Such a good day.
Even though, I lost sleep, but then I gained some sleep, and now I'll get some more sleep tonight because I'm really only on backup call now.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not. I have a confession.
Oh, yeah? This is my confession.
I knew I wasn't going to be able to record with you guys today.
You're such a dick. We could have literally gone anywhere.
I knew it. I knew that if I was hoping I would have more time to be a part.
Did you just do this because you knew that we wouldn't record unless you got us here to do it?
Yeah.
But look, here you are talking in the microphone for several minutes.
So when you guys came in here, I turned to Kimberly and I was like, listen, I knew I wasn't going to be able to be.
We could have recorded on Thursday.
But I knew.
In a beautiful brewery
I did want to get it out on its
that is bullshit, and you damn well know it. There is no way that would have happened.
I totally would have recorded it every day this week.
Absolutely not. I knew if I didn't push you to come in here and do it, that it would never get done.
I also knew that if we got here, you would be able to talk in the microphone for a little bit. And here I am. Yes.
So, like, I'm just watching you guys, like, power struggle so hard.
10-4. 10-7.
You've lost your mic privilege. Get out of here.
Give her microphone back.
Get out of here.
But we were talking about
I have
a little bit.
to go do discharge.
Okay, go do discharge.
But go ahead first.
We were talking about, so when it comes to the life of a midwife, we were talking a little bit about how it's not just the births. We were talking about how, like the other night, I went to the brewery with you guys for a couple of years.
Oh my god, it was
Did
so
you talk
much
about
fun.
that?
No.
We can't talk about that.
I have not had a night that
we haven't
magical
talked about
in so
the
long.
Fun stuff yet. That's actually we've had a lot of fun this week.
Yeah.
Because I launched my first course, which was going to be so much fun for poor Becca to put together. But to prepare, I know I lost the videos. To prepare, we went dancing.
Yeah.
Which I realized I then had to record 17 hours later or 16 hours later.
Yes.
I woke up at 4 and I was like, oh.
But you probably felt like a effing goddess because you looked so hot that night.
You looked so hot.
No pictures.
And you were so excited because you were so scared no one was going to sign up for your course.
Yeah.
And then you ended up getting like 10 people.
Yeah, because they only gave you like
10
2
or 11
weeks, right? For people to sign up?
They put the sign up like, I think it was like 9 days before. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? If I get 3, that's going to be great. But then 4 and then 5 and then 6. And then I started being like, oh no. That's way too many people on a Skype call.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be like that. Can I get an amen?
It's like that time we tried to do that like Skype call with our client or our like supporters.
And we forgot that
our
Wi-Fi blew.
And this Wi-Fi did keep dropping.
Yes.
So it's Becca, and she's going to be so upset that Jessica lost my videos.
I'm sorry.
It really wasn't her fault.
I'm not gonna blame
She really
myself.
was just following the rules.
I was doing what you needed to do to send them to her.
You did.
It was your Chromebook's fault.
It was. Yes.
Chromebooks. They're so average.
But dancing was magical.
Yeah,
and
the brewery was so fun.
Yeah, the girls were on fire that night also.
Oh my god.
But we were talking about like being on call because I've met some people there that I had never met before, and they're like, so this is what you do, so you're on call. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, so you could have to leave at any time. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm mostly on call for a first-time mom, and I haven't heard from her. But
on a scale of on-calledness, I'm like a 4 out of 10.
Exactly.
There is a scale of on-calledness.
Yeah, and they're like, so when do you get to completely shut off? And I'm like, I don't.
What?
When I go to Mexico and
What's
don't
the
come
question?
home when I'm supposed to.
Yes.
But then you don't get to cut off because we harass you the entire time you're gone.
But she just leaves her phone somewhere
Oh my
else.
gosh. So we hung out with Christina the other night. Hey, Christina. Actually, Christina doesn't listen to us.
I think she does.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Well, if you're listening, hi. That was so much fun the other night.
She's one of my childhood best friends.
She's funny.
She's
really
so
funny.
funny. I was laughing. My ribs hurt. I was laughing so hard from that day. So we're hanging out. We're talking about her business that she had, where she was sending dead flowers to people. It's kind of like FUs for people who have a sense of humor.
Yeah, it was called "Say It with Dead Flowers."
So we were like trying to think of situations where that would be appropriate. I said we totally could have fucking sent her some to Mexico. Like, enjoy your trip to Mexico, asshole. Hope you're having fun in Mexico.
Dead lilies.
I would have loved
She would have been
that.
like, look at these beautiful dried flowers. They love me so much.
But then Christina was like, well, then I have to hand deliver them wherever they are. So then you have to buy my plane ticket. I'll roll up there. Jess will stay another 3 more days because I'm there.
No. Okay. This has been fun, but I'm going to go to work.
Okay.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we were talking about, you can go to work.
Okay, goodbye.
We were talking about some of the other things we have to do other than birth.
I was trying to figure out how I'm going to contribute to this episode, considering Kim was supposed to be the second half. And I have had no births recently.
Yeah, you haven't had, Christmas birth was...
Yeah, Christmas is the
last birth we
one.
had together. But there's so many other things that go into it when we're trying, so it's like we're juggling prenatals, so we have prenatal appointments every week. We have consults every week. And then if you have a birth during any of those, then you have to reschedule those.
Or if you're able to keep it, then you have to somehow squeeze a postpartum 2-day visit into whatever else you have going on.
And then you never know when you're going to have to squeeze your postpartum visits in because you never know when they're going to have their babies. So then you have those like within a couple days after the birth.
And I always feel bad complaining. I complain. I'm human. I always feel bad complaining about how busy I am sometimes because I look at Kim's schedule and she does like 8 visits in a day, right?
Yeah.
Like she just like works so hard, and whenever I come in here, it's so insanely busy and chaotic.
Yeah.
But like when you look at my schedule, I'm like, oh, I have 4 visits today, but like we drive to most of our clients.
So it
visits.
takes longer.
So it takes at least an hour to not an hour and a half for a round trip, and I usually do 1.5 hour long visits because when I'm already driving that long to get to people, it just makes sense to like
chill,
stay longer, and not rush it. And so I always feel like I'm like, Kim's like, I had 8 visits today. I'm like, I have 4. But I'm like, that's intense. Like, it's just like a lot of work.
Yeah. And then, like, Kim's been writing those courses, and so the amount of time she's been putting into trying to put time aside to write her courses and her book. And then it's like if she gets called to a birth, then it's just like you're squeezing in all these other things besides your, family and all of that as well.
And then if you, like, own a practice like we do, you have the entire, like, ownership side of a business plus the administrative work. Like, we're getting busier, which I'm so grateful for, but, like, I cannot believe how many hours in a week I spent doing admin. Like, I can't remember the last time I actually was able to clean my house when I wanted to because something hasn't come up and taken, like, 3 hours out of my day to do admin work.
Yeah. And then we have the podcast, and so it's making sure we get together to record and then have it edited, and then I'll do the video stuff, which I love that. Like, I'm actually super psyched about the fact that we got together today, even though it's like this episode feels kind of crazy and my brain feels kind of crazy and I'm kind of tired and I look like a bum.
Yeah, my bonus mom gal is just really sinking in hard right now.
Or a homeless elf with my hat on.
You don't look homeless. You got these adorable how do you say the word? Charcuterie board earrings on.
Yeah. And
I've got a Merry Clitmas sweater on.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about though. That's a lot going on. But
that's your unicorn hair.
Yeah.
So, but Meredith, you're like way on call for like 2 births right now.
Yeah, but I also feel like that's another thing too when you're talking about like when do you turn off. I know we say this, but it's always like crazy to me, like you think like maybe this will be the kind I'm on call for that I won't wake up every night at 2 a.m. wondering if I'm going to a birth, because like you do, like if you wake up to pee at 2 a.m. or if you just wake up suddenly from a dream at 2 a.m. you're like, oh, am I waking up because like my midwife senses are tingling and I'm gonna end up at a birth in an hour, and then you're like exhausted immediately because you're gonna be up, you think you're gonna be up in an hour, so that is crazy.
That happened to me the other night, and this almost never happens to me, but like I woke up in the middle of the night and sometimes you wake up out of a dream and you're kind of confused. You're like, how did I get to bed? What happened? What, like, you're, like, missing sections of your night from how deep of a sleep you were in?
Yes, and it's not even alcohol-induced.
No. And then, like, my phone is always right next to my bed.
Do you always panic that your phone turned off or that your volume's down?
And so I always, like, reach over for my phone for where it is, and I'm reaching for it in the dark, and I'm like, oh, my God, it's not there. It's not there. Where the heck is my phone? And so then I'm like looking all around the bed, and now I'm in full panic.
And when you're half asleep like that, you can't rationalize. Like you can't be like, girl, you're half asleep, calm your tits. Like everything's fine.
Somehow when I got up and went to bed, I left my phone on the coffee table.
Oh no, that's
which
the worst
I have
in the world.
Never done. I have not done that in years. And so I
that makes me feel nauseous just like thinking about it.
And I think I would have heard the tech because my bedroom's not far and our door is open.
Yeah.
But just like I ran out to the living room and seeing my phone sitting on the coffee table, my whole body was like, oh God.
And your cortisol levels are so spiked at that point that like you're not going back to sleep after that.
No.
Like you're just gonna be a hot mess the rest of the night.
I picked it up and was like, well, thank goodness I did not have any messages, but I was like, how the heck did I leave my phone in the living room? I never do that.
And I don't think that's something that people, like, I can see where, like, parents might have that experience, like, if they have, like, adult children who, like, go out and do stuff. I just don't think people who are off-call or don't have an on-call schedule don't experience that, where, like, you wake up just sporadically in a panic that your phone's not on. Or that it's, like, right next to your face.
Or did I forget to turn the ringer back up? Or And so I was talking about that the other day too. I was like, we were talking about T9 word or something, the old text messaging. And I was like, there was one time that I panicked because my phone broke and the screen broke and I had to get it fixed and it was going to be broken for 2 days. And so I had to go get a burner phone and then text all my clients from this burner phone that they could text this phone, and it was like all T9 word and it took forever. And the person I was talking to was like, you couldn't just go 2 days without your phone?
No.
And I was like...
You can't even go 2 hours. Like, when we were hanging out the other day, remember my phone died?
Yeah.
So I had to text our clients who were doing, like, hey, if you need me, message this number. And then, of course, at 11:30 that night, I realized I hadn't texted the mom back to let her know.
That you had your phone back.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm going to be that asshole that's texting this poor pregnant mom who's having prodromal labor for weeks now.
But you gave them my phone number. At 11:30. I would have just left it, and I would have texted you if anyone called me.
Well, I did text her. I texted her at 11:30, and of course she's like, let's text. I was like, that was like a one-time text.
I'll do that.
I'll text you at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
I realized I started this conversation, though.
Yeah. So, anyway, I was like, I totally could go 2 days without a phone if I wasn't on call, but when you're on call,
I could go 2 years without a phone if I wasn't on call.
Yeah.
I used to never have, like, in college, people made fun of me because I had a flip phone.
Yeah.
Until I started doing birth work, and I literally remember when I got hired, the first thing I did was, like, climb to the top of my favorite mountain to even make sure I had service, because I was like, I'm not taking this job if I can't get to this peak with my phone.
Gosh.
Obviously, I probably would have taken the job either way, but I being on call is not my style, but it's worth it.
Yeah. And I want to say that it's worth it, too, because I say this all the time, because it's like, well, you had a super busy week of appointments last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was insane.
I've had, like, a weird chill zone where I haven't had, like, a very heavy client load coming up.
Yeah.
And so most of my appointments have been done. And so that's what I was saying. I was like, last week, I had to do 0 work.
Yeah.
Like, I had no appointments. I didn't have any postpartums. I didn't except for the podcast. I didn't end up having to go to any births.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm on call, and sometimes I might have to leave for 48 hours straight, and sometimes I have 10 appointments in a week. But then there's other times where I can go a whole week and never have to do anything. And so it actually gives me more time to myself, just less time that's actually to myself.
Yeah, and it's like you never know when you're going to get it, so it's not like you can necessarily structure it.
Yeah. And then again, it's like, we have those things where it's like, where you have that first-time mom, and it's like, well, this is what first-time moms usually do, but sometimes they don't. And so then it's like trying to tailor your advice to whatever's happening in this one particular situation, and it's always something different all the time.
It makes me wonder, because we always joke in the birth community, there's so many type A women in the birth community and providers. I don't get how type A people do this work, though, because you and I are so good at going with the flow and just, like, running out the door and being gone for 3 days if we need to, and just, like, if my clients cancel last minute, I have no problem, like, just, like, rescheduling. Like, I don't get how type A people do this work. Yeah. Because you just have to be able to do whatever the hell is going on in any given moment.
Maybe start turning into Kim and panicking all the time and...
her for another year. I can't do this for another year. 2022 has to be the year of Kim's type A becoming like a lowercase a. I need to be like, instead of a capital monstrous A, I needed to like downsize a little bit.
Yeah.
As we like try to expand our practice and blah blah blah. That's gonna happen.
It's to start being just a shower instead of a grower. I don't even know if that makes sense.
I would like her. No, I want her to be a shower A, not a grower. No, I want her to be a grower A, not a shower A.
Oh, so her type A looks small, but then every once in a while it'll get big.
Just occasionally, every once in a while. As much as she has sex, that's probably going to be a lot more often than I want it to be.
You just did not say that in your microphone
It's probably for the best, right? Yeah. You guys got to hear it, though.
Yeah. Well, I feel like
I'm ready to wrap this one up.
We're going to wrap it up like a Dioc, because this is going to be a short episode because we've had a lot going on.
Or we're just like over it.
Yeah, I am.
Only the second episode of the year.
I'm going to go home and go to sleep again.
I fully support you in that.
It's going to be glorious.
I'm going to go fill my bonus mom guilt by seeing the end of Penny's gymnastics class.
Yes, sounds great. But we are really trying to do 2 episodes in a row at some point in time, so we have extra episodes. We have done it before. So I know it's possible.
That feels so far away.
It'll happen. And we really are going to get to that transitions episode, but we will release more on our social media soon about our 100 episode get together. Mm-hmm. And please send us all of your birth stories. I mean, if you want to be a birth story of the week, just birth in general too. We're still doing birth stories of the week.
Yeah. Just a fun reminder though, we are focusing on twins and teen pregnancy, especially coming up. So like, Jess is right. Any story is a great story. So especially if you have those topics to contribute, that'd be awesome.
And if you're a person who knows that they're not going to be able to make it to our 100th episode hangout, if there's something you want to say about our podcast, or your favorite parts, or
your least favorite parts.
Or your least favorite parts. Anything that you would say if we were to interview you on the microphone, you can totally email that to us as well, or private message to our social media, and we can share that as part of our 100th episode.
Sounds amazing. I'm gonna get us a big cake.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Can we get a charcuterie cake again?
How about I'll do like a 1 and a 0 and a 0, and then I'll make them different for different people. So you will definitely have a meat cake in some capacity.
A meat cake. Okay. So yeah. For all you moms out there whose births we get to attend, we love you and we love attending your births, and we even love being on call for you most of the time.
And thanks for dealing with all of this on days where our midwife life takes over everything.
Yes.
And on that note,
all we have to say is
cheers!